everyone, welcome to the Michigan Fitness Foundation's Online Learning in a Snap. My name is Ann Lee, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a book from our Grade 2 Health Through Literacy book bag. Today we are reading Nothing to Do by Douglas Wood, illustrated by Wendy Anderson Halperin. Before we start reading though, let's take a closer look at the book. Here we see the front and back covers of the book. What do you notice about the pictures on the cover? Do you see anything in the picture that you like to do? Have you ever felt like you had nothing to do? What do you do when that happens? When I have nothing to do, one of my favorite activities is to read, and I'm happy that you're going to be reading with me today. Now, as you're listening to the story, if you hear me say an activity that you have done before, I want you to carefully stand up and then sit back down again. For example, if you hear me say, play baseball, if you've ever played baseball before, you're going to stand up and then sit back down. And you want to do this each time you hear me say an activity that you have participated in. Are you ready? Let's start. Nothing to Do by Douglas Wood, illustrated by Wendy Anderson Halperin. Once in a while, along comes a day when there is nothing, absolutely positively nothing to do. And isn't that great? No school, no homework, no Little League, no dance class, no play rehearsal, no soccer practice, no computer camp, no anything. Just a white, empty space on the calendar. Of course, some people get a little worried about these spaces. These people are very nice and wear big shoes, but we'll think about them a little later. But what do you do when there's nothing to do? Well, I've heard stories, wonderful stories, about taking off your shoes and walking through green grass or mud in your bare feet, or making toy ships out of sticks and sailing them across a puddle that somehow seems as wide as an ocean. I've heard about lying on your back and watching clouds turn from dinosaurs into crocodiles, into dragons, into bears, into butterflies, into clouds. Or lying on your stomach, watching an ant carry something 3 times bigger than he is, while you wonder, how can he do that? And what do ants eat for breakfast that make them so strong? I've heard of making a paper airplane do loop-de-loops and barrel rolls in the soft summer air, then land smooth as butter on bread. Or building a fort, a secret place where no one can see you because you can't see them, and surviving for hours on peanut butter sandwiches and lemonade. I've heard about catching fireflies on a warm evening and putting them in a jar until you have 2 hands full of gold, and then letting them all go. I've heard of swinging until your toes touch the clouds, or hanging by your knees like a monkey, just to find out how monkeys feel. I've heard of climbing a good tree that's been waiting all its long life just to be climbed by you, or finding a quiet spot and reading your very favorite book, and then reading it again, just because it is your favorite. I've heard stories about exploring places that really need to be explored, about making angels in the snow, or igloos or caves, or sledding, or tasting icicles, or throwing snowballs, or building round, fat men with orange noses and old hats who smile at everyone. Why, I've heard of swimming and building sandcastles, and hopscotching, and jump roping, and running, and throwing, and bouncing, and painting, and drawing, and playing with toys, and puzzles, and dolls, and games, and puppies, and kittens, and hamsters, and germ rolls, and doing cartwheels, and doing somersaults, and doing, well, sometimes just doing nothing. And maybe one of the best ways to do nothing is to show someone else how to do it. Maybe even someone with big shoes. Just to remind them that sometimes doing nothing is the most important thing in the whole wide world to do. The end. I like that story a lot. It reminds me that it's good to have free time once in a while. Sometimes we need days when there's nothing to do so that we can relax or go on fun adventures. How about you?